The rules of the game are simple. There are two sides, the Imperials and the Barbarians. The goal of each faction is to get rid of all members of the other side. Each round consists of the Barbarians secretly deciding on whether to eliminate an Imperial or try to convert them to a Barbarian, which that Imperial then can accept or refuse. And then after time to discuss, everyone will publicly vote on who they think is a Barbarian and vote them out. Meaning, this is a game of strategy and deception. Previously, Ryland, the legendary living weapon, was chosen as the first Barbarian, and despite there being pressure on him, he managed to survive a few rounds and convert Gwendolyn, an innkeeper, and Rita, a noblewoman, while simultaneously forming an alliance of unsuspecting Imperials in the main hall. However, it seems that Rita is not willing to play as a team, and now Ryland is wondering if he made the wrong choice converting her. And now the continuation. Ryland did his best to stay calm as he stood in a huddle with the rest of his team. Last round, everyone had split into alliances, and he was fortunate to be in the second biggest one, after Rita's, of course. His team, Gwendolyn, who was a secret fellow barbarian, as well as Clanus, who was a mute, and Vera, a former Imperial librarian, all eyed the other players thoughtfully. Then Vera turned to him, frowning. "You promise you aren't a barbarian, Ryland?" she asked. Ryland forced himself to be as relaxed as possible. He wasn't sure if it was working. "I promise," he said to her. "Someone is trying to set me up. They want all eyes on me so that they can escape being noticed." Ryland was lying, of course. In truth, he had made some mistakes early on in the game which had put the suspicion directly onto him, and rightfully so. But now he just had to roll with it. If you lost this game, a magical spell turned you to dust, while if you won, you would receive the prize that had been agreed upon beforehand by the Game Master. Ryland would be told where his long-lost mother was. Vera sighed. Who could it be then? Who would be smart enough to do that? She continued looking around. The twins, maybe, she said. Ryland followed her gaze to the twins, Bordan and Boudicca, who were sitting on the floor near the wall of the hall, heads close together, whispering. Boudicca seemed to be unhappy about something and was pouting, while Bordan was moving his hands expressively. "You think?" Gwendolyn asked, and Vera nodded. Perhaps one of them, likely Bordan, was picked as the first barbarian. He knew that them being twins might make them be seen as threats because they have an automatic alliance. So he eliminated Pleo first, framing Ryland so they would not be suspected. Clanus nodded her agreement, and so did Ryland. He was just happy that Vera seemed to believe him. "Shall we vote for Bordan then?" Gwendolyn asked, and Vera responded in the affirmative, just as the Game Master came back onto the gallery that jutted out above their heads from one of the walls of the hall. "Time is up," he announced. "When I call your name, please indicate who you vote to eliminate." "Theomund." "Abeardon," Theomund, the former prince of the city, called out. Abeardon started muttering about sheep even louder than before. He seemed to think the imaginary sheep he worshipped had control over him, or something. Ryland wasn't exactly sure what was wrong with the man, and he had too much on his mind to try and figure it out now. "Clanus," the Game Master called. Clanus pointed at Bordan, who gave her a glare. She took a slight step closer to Ryland, making herself small. "Manville, I vote for Rita," the jester, who thought himself funny, said loudly. As the Game Master continued calling the names of the players, the votes came in. The truth was that Ryland knew who would be eliminated already. Rita had made it clear to him and Gwendolyn that her alliance, which consisted of 5 players including herself, were voting for Abeardon. Both Ryland and Gwendolyn had been against it, but there was nothing they could do. Predictably, Abiodun got the most votes with 5, while Ryland and Bordan shared second place with 4. Ryland sighed. He still had work to do. People still heavily suspected him. With 5 votes, Abiodun, you have been eliminated, the Game Master said, and immediately the magic spell took effect, turning Abiodun bit by bit to dust. The sheep will light the way, he shouted, and the word will be cast in the darkness of wool. Beware the horns, beware the And then he was no more than a pile of grey dust on the ground. I can now reveal that Abiodun was, in fact, an Imperial. Everyone, please go back to your cells, the Game Master ordered. A few people groaned at Abiodun being named an Imperial, including Ryland, to put on a show for the others. He had to appear at all times in the hall like an Imperial. He did catch a glimpse of Rita, who was smiling ear to ear, and now he was going to have to meet her and deal with her arrogance. He truly was starting to regret converting her. Wendelin had not wanted to, but Ryland had convinced her. It seemed he may have been wrong. Everyone knew the drill by now. The sides of the hall had many doors, and each of them had the name and painting of one player depicting which door was theirs. Once Ryland was in his cell, the door closed behind him, and then in front of him, another door opened. He walked through it into a corridor that then led to the barbarian meeting room where they could meet in secret. The Game Master, as always, was waiting by the table in the middle, which had the names and paintings of the remaining players, while Rita and Wendelin both arrived at the same time as him. Rita giggled. "Ooh, I love this game. I just got rid of that man, and now I can do it again." She laughed harder. Ryland and Wendelin exchanged a worried glance. "Actually, I was thinking we should convert someone who has another alliance, just to be sure that no matter what, we always have the numbers," Ryland said. Wendelin nodded. "I was thinking the same. Perhaps Isley?" No. I will not allow her to come anywhere near me. I have heard rumors about what she does for money. It is disgusting." "Not everyone has a vault of gold in their castle," Wendelin snapped. Rita looked like she had just been slapped. "Speak to me like that again, and if you survive this game, I will have you flogged. No, we will kill that woman like the scum she is." "I might enjoy seeing her turn to dust, actually." Ryland put a hand on Wendelin's shoulder, comforting her and stopping her from making things worse. "Look, Lady Rita, we don't have to eliminate anyone in here to win. In fact, I think it's the worst strategy. If we convert Isley, we will have her and Titha on our side. We will be close to controlling every vote in the game. Once that happens, we are sure to win." Ryland kept his voice soft, hoping against hope he could convince her. Rita thought for a moment. No, I have a better idea. We eliminate Isley now, or in the next round, I will get my servants to vote for you, Ryland, and you will die. How's that? Ryland's face hardened. "You are threatening me," he said coldly. It was not a question. "I'm just telling you what will happen," Rita said with a smile. "Fine," Ryland said. "Have it your way." Back in his cell, Ryland felt the anger bubbling up inside him like a boiling cauldron about to spill over. But he took deep breaths and tried to calm himself just as his cell door opened and he walked back out into the hall along with everyone else. As Rita had wanted, the Game Master announced the elimination of Isley and she turned to dust. She didn't say anything. Instead, she took Titha's hand and smiled. Titha, on the other hand, screamed. They must have known each other before, as quite a few people in the game did. Titha then turned to Rita, tears streaming down her face. "You did this! You killed her! She stormed towards Rita, who just smiled as Theomund and Ulfric stepped forward to stop Titha from reaching her. Whatever do you mean? Rita asked innocently. It is the barbarians who killed her, not me. And then Rita turned and walked away. Senniva and Haramilla followed immediately, while Theomund and Ulfric checked to make sure Titha wouldn't do anything reckless before they followed too. Ryland spoke again with his alliance of Vera, Wendelin and Clenis, and since none of them had anyone else to suggest, they decided to vote for Bordan again. Unsurprisingly, Rita's whole alliance voted to eliminate Titha, though what did surprise Ryland was how many votes he received. Ryland didn't just get the votes of Guderian and Nerthus like he had been, but also the twins, and for some reason, Manville. The vote has resulted in a tie, the Game Master announced once everyone had finished. 5 votes for Titha and 5 votes for Ryland. We will hold another vote. This time Titha and Ryland are forbidden from voting, and for everyone else, the only 2 options are Titha and Ryland. First will be Haramilla. The votes came in, and thanks to the numbers Ryland had fortunately collected, all that happened was that his 3 alliance members changed their vote from Bordan to Titha. Titha turned to dust with 8 votes and was announced to be an Imperial, while the original barbarian, Ryland, survived yet another round. Back in the barbarian meeting room, Rita was elated, laughing so hard that her eyes were watering. Ryland could see Wendelin was doing her best to contain her anger. Okay, you have had your fun, she said in a voice Ryland much imagined she would use with her son when he was being naughty. But we have to get back on track. There are so few of us barbarians. We are at risk. We have to convert. Rita slowly stopped laughing, wiping her eyes. Then she shook her head and tutted her teeth. You commoners, you think you are so smart. Well, I shouldn't blame you. Everyone seems to underestimate me. Even my own Lord Father. You know why I am in Octan? My father wanted to marry me off to some old fat lord to be ridden like some broodmare. I told him no, but he insisted and it organised it against my wishes. Don't get me wrong, it could be worse. The playbook is simple. Be the doting wife, push out a few children, then slowly poison your husband until he dies tragically in his sleep. Then I rule his lands in his stead until our children come of age, and then when they do, I retire to a life of comfort. But you see, what you and my father and old Pimbleberry refuse to see is that I am a genius. There is no one in the land smarter than me. Rita cackled as Ryland looked at her in disbelief. You 2 are the ones who converted me, so for that, I will keep you both alive. I will not have it said that Lady Rita does not pay her debts. However, the both of you should just stay quiet, listen to what I say, and follow my instructions to the letter. That way, you will stay alive, we will win, and if you show loyalty, I might even take you into my service afterwards. I could use a living weapon as a bodyguard. Now, we will eliminate Nerthus here. She is a pirate, a criminal, and she deserves to die. Without even waiting for Ryland and Wendelin to respond, Rita turned to the Game Master. See that it is done. All barbarians must agree, he said. They do, Rita responded rather impatiently. Wendelin looked at Ryland with the question in her eyes, and he let out a sigh. I agree, he said. Me too, Wendelin said afterwards. Rita beamed. Very good. I know thinking must be difficult for the likes of you 2, so just leave it to me. I will take care of you, Rita said. Back in the main hall, Nerthus the pirate captain turned to dust. Ryland wasn't too upset about it. Nerthus had been voting for him after all, though he was also aware that everyone who Rita had decided to eliminate had been someone who had voted for him at some point, which was only putting more suspicion on him. The last vote had been close, and he was starting to think he might have to do something drastic to change up the game and get the suspicion away from him. Gwendolyn and Vera were discussing ideas next to him, but he was as silent as Clanus as his mind raced. It took Vera calling his name 3 times before he responded. "What?" he said. "I asked what you were thinking." Ryland made the decision right then and there. "We have to eliminate Rita," he said. Gwendolyn's jaw dropped, Clanus gasped, and Vera's eyes widened. "Why?" "She has the numbers. That alliance will pick us all off one by one regardless of what we are. I am not sure she is a barbarian, but I think someone in that group definitely is. And it's best to start with the head of the snake. We have to go for them now, before they decide that time is up for one of us." "I agree," Gwendolyn said immediately. "I believe she is the barbarian. Just look at who has been eliminated the past few rounds. People she has expressed dislike towards." Clanus nodded vigorously, and Vera cocked her head to the side. "But there are 5 of them, and we are 4. So whoever they vote for will be eliminated regardless." Clanus then pointed at the twins. It took Ryland a second, but Gwendolyn understood straight away. "Great idea, Clanus. We can ask the others. Let's start with the twins." "But we have voted for Borden 2 rounds in a row," Vera said. Gwendolyn shrugged. "It's still worth a try." The 4 of them walked over to the twins. Judicia was wringing her fingers anxiously, while Borden gave Ryland a death glare. "What do you want?" the male twin snapped. "We know we have voted for you," Ryland began, "as you have voted for me. But I say we put our suspicions of each other aside for a moment. Because no, I'm not working with you," Borden said. "Go away." "Borden, let's just listen to what they have to say," Judicia said. "No, it's a trick. We can't trust anyone but each other. We can't survive without working with others. Please, brother." "I said no. I'm not doing it. But you do what you want." Then Borden stormed off. Judicia's lip was shaking as she walked after him, calling his name. "They have some issues," Gwendolyn muttered. "Tell me about it," Ryland said. They all turned to look around the room. "We just need 6 votes, Vera said. "What if we speak to Guderian? With Nerthus gone, he isn't working with anyone anymore." "That will be a long shot," Ryland said. "He still thinks I am a barbarian. But without the twins, we need him. Let's go." Unlike the twins, Guderian actually listened to the whole plan. When they were done explaining, he smirked and shook his head. "It's bold, but I like bold. If you truly are the barbarian, Ryland, then you are playing one hell of a game." "I'm not," Ryland said. "But thank you. So are you in?" "I'm in. I have been suspicious of Rita anyway." "Great. We just need one more vote," Vera said, and then they all turned to the only person in the room who was left to ask. The court jester, Manville. He was standing alone on one side of the hall, spinning in a circle and laughing to himself. Ryland gulped. This was going to be interesting. The 5 of them went up to Manville, Guderian now with them. Manville stopped spinning when he saw them coming. "Ooh, they always come back for little old Manville. What is it now?" he said. Gwendolyn explained the plan this time, and Manville listened with a big smile. "What will you pay me?" he asked, and Ryland cursed under his breath. Gwendolyn, though, had an answer. "If we get out of here alive, I will give you 3 drinks at my inn for a day," she said. "Only a day?" "A week, then." "Only a week?" A month of free drinks at all the inns in Octan. That's my price for winning, owning all the inns. That must be enough for you." Manville still looked unsure. Gwendolyn pursed her lips. "A year of free drinks in all the inns of Octan if you just do this one vote." Manville grinned. "That's more like it. I will think about it." "Think about it?" Ryland exclaimed in frustration. "Think about what?" They all turned to see Rita standing behind them with her alliance, looking curiously at them. joining us in an alliance, Ryland said quickly. Manville cackled and ran off in his exaggerated court jester way. Rita crossed her arms. Is that so? That is so, Ryland said. They stared at each other for a moment before the Game Master came out onto the gallery. All players, it is time for the vote. Ryland's heart was beating so loudly he thought that everyone might be able to hear it. He saw Wendelin catch his eye and he nodded. Manville hadn't agreed to vote for Rita, but at the very least they had 5 votes, which was equal to Rita's alliance. The twins were wildcards, but hopefully it would work out. Hopefully. Bordan voted for Ryland first, followed by the same vote from Brudicia. Then Saniva the acrobat voted for Clanus, as did Rita and Ulfric. Ryland saw Clanus's eyes go wide as it became clear that she was the target of Rita's group. However, her reaction was nothing compared to Rita's when Ryland was the first to cast a vote her way. He had never seen a pleased face turn to terror so quickly. She rounded on him, and if looks could kill, he would have ceased to exist. Then the votes for Rita started racking up. Wendelin, then Vera, then Clanus, then Guderian, all voted for Rita until it was 5 votes for her and 5 votes for Clanus. And finally, Manville, the Game Master said, and all eyes turned to the court jester, who laughed. I vote for the elegant Lady Rita, he said with a flourishing bow. No, Rita shouted. It cannot be. This is a mistake. End the game. I ordered this game finished. I can't. She stopped as she saw her body turning to dust. Then she let out a long, loud, high-pitched scream that only ended when her vocal cords joined the rest of her as a heap of dust on the floor. I can officially announce that Rita was in fact a barbarian. Yes, Guderian shouted, and his cheer was met with others. Theomund looked shocked, as did Haramilla, while Vera jumped up and down and Manville laughed wholeheartedly. Ryland grinned, and this time he didn't have to fake it. He had successfully rid the game of Rita, and now it was just him and Wendelin as barbarians. They could start from scratch, though this time with less people in the game. In retrospect, everything had worked out brilliantly. The smile stayed on his face until he got to the barbarian meeting room. He had expected Wendelin to be happy, but instead, he found her looking uneasy. We just purposely planned and killed someone, Wendelin said softly when Ryland asked her what was wrong. We have been doing it all game. That's what we are forced to do, Ryland told her, but Wendelin shook her head. No, this was different. Before wasn't me actively choosing and making moves to kill anyone. But this time, we got Rita out. She wouldn't have died if not for us. And the worst thing about it is, I was glad. Ryland had seen this before, many times. Your first kill was never easy, even if it was indirect, such as this. I understand, but it was her or us, and the game continues. We can feel bad after we win, but survival comes first, and now we have to take control of the alliance Rita has left behind, Ryland said. Wendelin took a deep breath. Okay, she shook her body as if trying to relax. Maybe we should convert Theomund? He can then step into the new leadership position, she said. Good idea, Ryland told her. Let's do that. The Game Master soon left to go deliver the news to Theomund in his cell. But to both Ryland and Wendelin's surprise, he came back alone. I am afraid that Theomund has rejected the offer. He will remain an Imperial. Ryland cursed. He hadn't even considered that the Prince would reject. I am afraid that is your turn. Please return to your cells, the Game Master said. Ryland was kicking himself all the way through the corridor into his cell and then out into the hall. Still, they would have another round, and Theomund might know the barbarians had tried to convert him, but it didn't mean he knew who they were, and everyone else wouldn't know what to think. At least, that's what Ryland was thinking until Theomund spoke up. In the last round, the barbarians tried to convert me. I refused it, he announced for the whole hall to hear. Everyone looked at him in shock, including Ryland, because he had really hoped Theomund would not say anything. How do we know you are telling the truth? Ryland said. I swear it on my honor as a knight, a lord, and prince. The Game Master came to me asking if I wanted to become a barbarian, and I refused. Everyone moved towards the middle of the hall, the previous alliances forgotten. If that is true, Gwendolyn said thoughtfully, then I would wager that the barbarian is one of the people who followed Rita, likely tried to protect her, and now that she is gone, wants to recruit Theomund. Or it is Theomund already, Guderian said. Perhaps he and Rita were working together all along, but now she is gone, he wants to cover his tracks. So he is pretending that he got converted when in fact he converted someone else. Or it could be one of you lot, Haramilla said, trying to frame one of us to protect yourselves. It's him, Vera said assertively as she pointed to Bordan. I am sure of it. It's not me, Bordan said angrily. It's Ryland. It's been Ryland from the beginning. I'm still suspicious of Ryland, Guderian commented, but he did lead the charge against Rita. Right now, I am looking more at who didn't vote for her. I will say it again. I swear that they tried to convert me and I refused, Theomund said. And since Rita was a barbarian, I agree that she was likely working with someone else in our alliance. Perhaps it was you, Ulfric. Theomund turned to Ulfric, who smirked. Oh, I wish I was a barbarian. Alas, I am not. I believed Ryland was the barbarian at the beginning, and I actually asked to be converted, but I never was, so I suppose my suspicions of Ryland have gone down. Everyone turned to Ryland. Is this true? Guderian asked, and Ryland nodded. It is true. I was shocked when it happened, and chose to stay silent because I didn't want to bring more suspicion to myself. However, I am not a barbarian, so I couldn't have converted Ulfric even if I wanted to. It did make me think Ulfric might be a barbarian, however. Perhaps it was a double bluff to pull out in a situation like this to confirm his innocence. Ryland felt rather proud, turning it right back on Ulfric. If I were a barbarian, I would have played extremely differently, Ulfric said. But I do agree it is someone who was in this alliance with Rita. I don't believe Senniva has the temperament. What's that supposed to mean? Senniva said, but Ulfric ignored her and kept talking. So I believe the barbarian is Haramilla. That is ridiculous, Haramilla said. I have my suspicions on Guderian. You have been going for Ryland all game, and now you have suddenly switched. It seems suspicious to me. The Game Master called for the vote before Guderian had the chance to respond. Ryland decided to vote for Theomund. He wanted to get him out. However, he was the only one. The rest of the votes were pretty spread out. There were 3 votes for Ulfric and 2 for Ryland, the twins, of course. But it was Haramilla who got the most votes, with Gwendolyn, Ulfric, Guderian, and Senniva all voting her. When she was nothing but a pile of dust, the Game Master spoke. Haramilla was in fact an Imperial. Please go back to your cells. Damn it, Guderian shouted. These bloody barbarians are running circles around us. You have no idea, Guderian, Ryland thought as he stepped back into his cell. They had started with 20 players. Now there were 12. The end was close, and he was going to make sure that he was the winner. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this story. This is part 3 of a 4-part story. I actually thought it was going to be 3 parts originally, but it's turned out so that there'll be one more part after this. So if that video is out by the time you're watching this, you'll be able to click on the screen here and watch it. AA Watson out.